obviously heads off to the side lane. The longer the Paquito stays alive, the more knockout punches we will get to see from the side of Blacklist International, and thus is going to pose a little bit of a threat when it comes to Lunox in darkening stage. With that all said and done, let us just jump right into match number 3, game number 1 here in MSC 2021 upper brackets.
Here we go, first game in the upper brackets. Like Abstract mentioned, it is into the land of the dawn with two powerhouses of their own respective countries and region. And it's going to be Rsg from Malaysia, and on the other end of the aisle, Blacklist International, the champions of MPLPH. Izanami down in the mid lane. It's going to be a mid Lunox, and well, I think with this Lancelot, it's pretty obvious that's going to have to settle for his side lanes against the Harry.
Yeah, so this is definitely not something that I was expecting coming from the side of RSG with also picking up onto the Lancelot. So we know that once Lancelot is out there, he's definitely going to go to the jungle, and that pretty much means that the Esmeralda that they picked up there is going to be in the top lanes together with the Kufra. So they are just kind of pairing these two characters up. Not gonna be focused on the typical mid lane strategy that we usually see. This is a little bit different from the meta picks as well as the laning we usually see.
Yeah, kind of interesting there, right? RGMY pick up a Lancelot just to match the pacing of Blacklist International's draft. I think the Lancelot is just there, so they have a good mid game when Lancelot does pick up his Blade of Heptases, gets his power spike, and the goal here for RGMY is just try to end the game as fast as possible. Like, we've seen this too many times now. Blacklist International, you give them 10 to 20 minutes to farm, and that's it. The Elders comes in, the Harif just takes it over. And RGMI, they're very well aware of that. They pick up heroes that can come online early. They have the Lunox, they have the Lancelot, as well as a Kufa just to stop the Harif if things go south.
So this lineup for RSGMY, yes, they do definitely have a lot of mobility on their side. And one thing that I'm kind of afraid for Blacklist International is the very fact that their Paquito, which is actually going to play on the side lane fighter, it might have some issues in actually landing up on those knockout punches. We shall see exactly how that's going to work out, as it does seem like Blacklist International, they did manage to bring themselves right into the side of RSGMY, but surprisingly, RSGMY is the one that will take the first blood. Blacklist International then slowly manages to get themselves a kill for themselves and just kind of back and forth a little bit as Oheb drops himself with the Zaman Force. He stays alive with a massive amount of shield that he generated for himself. And with that all said and done, Oh My Venus jumps right in, successfully takes a kill onto the side of Lancelot as well.
Well, if record stands, Blacklist International has already won the game. Remember, Oh My Venus walked into this game with 100% win rate on this Matilda. Like, coming in from MPLPH as well. So, like I said, if numbers are correct, and stats are correct, this game very well may have already been over before it started. But let's hold on to our horses here. RGMY obviously taking up the turtle, had a bit of a bad fight there in mid. They overstayed their welcome, tried to play a bit aggressive. Matilda comes in, bites them in the back with the Soul Bloom. They lose the Lancelot. I don't think it's the biggest loss for RGMY, but it sets up such a good game for Blacklist International, because imagine if they're really having a good early game where, you know, RGMY can't pressure Blacklist International, it's only gonna get worse from here.
I'm sure there must be more things that RSGMY have got in their shoes or in their sleeves. I'm looking forward to see how they can work out all these kind of team fights, because 3-2 in this early stage of the game, I think it is pretty not bad, to be honest. But unfortunately, top lane is going to be completely sharped out by Blacklist International, and just take a look at the bottom side. Lolia's unfortunately getting completely melted down by Oh My Venus, and she still stays alive. This Matilda is just holding down the ground, and that was a very fair 3v3 fight. Completely going to the side of Blacklist International. RSGMY unfortunately did not even manage to bring a single person down, as Eson breaks himself up into a split motion of full of Jellos. He's going to be getting himself far away. At first he wanted to initiate onto Izanami, but slowly got himself right back home, or rather back under the turret. As the fight continues on, Zakas, he wants to get a piece out of the turtle soup, but I don't think that is going to be that easy.
RGMY now trying to push Blacklist International away from the turtle. They will successfully do so, but like I said, Blacklist International not really too worried about this early game objectives. Farming is more important to them. We've seen Harith just peacefully farming away in the bot lane for quite some time now. 202, still a perfect record for OHEB. Now mid lane, oh, Zekers misses the Tyrant's Rage, and that is a huge CC that's down for the next 40 seconds. If Blacklist International really wants to, they can just complete the jungle farm coming up from the Elders and then rotate into the Turtle Split.
Not to forget, Izanami has also wasted out the power of the Chaos Darkening at that point in time. But, you know, it's not that big of a deal because it's very short cooldown. So, we're just going to be taking a look at the Turtle's Pit as well. It does seem like, oh, the Aldous did manage to take the turtle for himself and is going to be pretty happy with the turtle soup that he's going to be whipping up in a short little bit. In the meantime, we're also going to be looking at the bottom side as we do have OHEB jumping right in. 1v2 may actually end up in a 1v4. Surprisingly, Kaiser, oh, with the falling star moon run to OHEB. There's really nowhere that OHEB can eventually run on. Kaiser takes himself in front while we do have the Thorn Rose from Lexia preparing for the fact that this Harith moves backwards. Ison with a low amount of health, he's gonna find himself flying right onto Oh My Venus, and they will still be able to stay themselves right on top with a total of 3,000 gold advantage.
Now just look at the way Oh My Venus plays that Matilda. It feels like watching Picasso paint art. He's forever on that movement speed boost. He never seems to have cooldown on any of his skills, and he's just a class act to watch. RGMI definitely feeling a lot of pressure from this aggressive rotations coming from Blacklist International.
And moving on, we are entering into the start of the mid stages of the game, as most of these players have already gotten themselves with level 2 ultimates here and there. We should be expecting some burst amount of damage, especially looking at the item-wise. In bottom lane, Kaiser, well, completely going down to Oh My Venus once again. And Wise had a free taxi ride all the way down to the bottom lane, so that is going to be an easy turret down. Blacklist International focusing on all of these objectives as well as kills whenever possible. Fast forward up, top lane, Edward finds himself fighting 1-1 against Izanami, and despite all of that, amount of magical damage being tossed right down onto Edward. All of that power of the Chaos Darkening, Chaos Assaults onto Edward has been reverse swept by Edward with that insane double knockout punches. He immediately got himself with a HP all the way back up, and he did not even look back.
Yeah, like, if I'm RGMY, I'm scratching my head, right? Because I've nearly gotten half HP, just immediately backs off, gets the passive up, knockout punch, falls into the knockout strike, and suddenly you see a dead Lunox. And RGMY now throwing all the cards on the table with this draft is something they're very comfortable with. And Blacklist International just completely stomping apart. Remember, RGMY picked up the Lunox as well as the Lancelot so they can have a good mid game. But that mid game seems to be, you know, not exactly working out. Blacklist International with this Matilda and Elders just rotating all over across the map, but now Zekers trying to defend Izanami from getting taken down. Blacklist International more focused on pick up this turret. They're fighting right underneath this tier 1, taking so much damage hit, but the damage distribution from Blacklist International is nearly, if not perfect. And only at 8 minutes in do we see Izanami, or rather Lexia, picking up the Blade of Heptasis, whereas you look at the Elders, he's already completed the Thunderbelt.
But they were fighting under the turret for as long as 5 seconds.
Well, they got ton of shield, right? You think about it, you have Harith, you have Matilda,
Oh, the Esmeralda builds up shield too.
Yup, and on top of it, they also have an Elders that generates shield. So that is just a ton of sustain coming up from Blacklist International. And like I said, they were micromanaging the turret damage so well. Remember, every single time you walk out the turret's range and they're aggroing or something else, you reset the damage dealt to you by the turret.
I suppose that the slightly ambitious lineup and pickoff that RSGMY have gotten themselves with is going to be slightly tough for them to handle. They did have a little bit of a different kind of positioning in terms of laning phase, and thus is going to be slightly tough for them to deal with. One thing to note, Lexia playing onto the Lancelot does not have that much damage into his name as well.
Yeah, and even the net worth, I think that's a more concerning fact for RGMY. Oh My Venus on this Matilda, right? Remember, she's bought Mask. he's only like 200 gold behind Lexia. And that is a big problem for Rsg MY. And to add insult to injury, they also lost the Benedetta down the bot lane, which means Paquito is freed up to push the bottom side.
This is a very convincing way that Blacklist International has played. We are looking at the Tyrant's Rage, Tyrant's Revenge on the two members on the side of Blacklist International, but yet all of their HP is still more than 80%. Almost, they are almost like super healthy, and that is questionable. A really good amount of CCs going down from Eson as well as by Venus onto this Lunox. And RSGMY, with their back against the wall, in fact not just their back, they're literally stuck inside of a mini small cube, and that is definitely going to make them having some issues getting out of that cube. Because Blacklist International, they are just way too dominating, and they are trying to split up their battles. They're bringing RSGMY on a holiday to the bottom side, while they are happily pouncing onto the turret on top.
Like I said, it really feels like you are watching Picasso paint art. Just the way they're executing this Harith and Elders combo is so good from front to end. Remember, Elders is not supposed to come online this early. But because of how aggressive Blacklist International has been able to counter-react MY's draft, they are doing such a good job. They put Lexia on such a back foot now that RSG MY have to play behind from, which is something that they're not very comfortable with. And on the other hand, Blacklist International, as the game goes on, their Elders is going to get even more damage under the belt. Harith is just going to come online even quicker. And look at that, Edward, just 1v3. And there is nothing that RSG MY can do but look at Edward punch the heck out of them.
What the hell is happening? Edward, that's illegal. That is absolutely illegal. You can't just go in, stay inside the brush of the opponent's side and just fend off against 3 opponents. And Zakas, you can't just do that. You can't just jump right in like that with no one coming in to help you out. We even have the Lord pushing up in the top lane. The rest of Blacklist International, they're just still finding ways to eventually break into the middle lane, inhibit the turret, as we do have the Tyrant's Revenge coming in. Tyrant's Rage right on top of Wise. It doesn't seem like things are going that south for Wise though. He got himself right out of Tyrant's range very easily, with even the Zaman Force being popped right up. Immobilized coming in, run the Kaiser once again. They ease on. He's just putting out so much ECs right to the top of the side of RGMY, whereby they're just going to be changing their pacing just so much. Lolios gets himself right out. We do have Zakas still onto the bouncing ball. Eson brings him right back into the heart of Blacklist International. That's going to be one person out right now. We've got Lolios jump right in, right onto the Zaman Force. Probably not the best thing to do, but fortunately, he still managed to get himself right out of all of that danger. With a total of 10,000 gold lead on the head of Blacklist International, RSGMY, they cannot find themselves any ways to defend against Blacklist International, because every single one of these heroes, they're just holding their own just too damn well. And speaking of too damn well, it does seem like Oh My Venus is finally went down. They're going in for a 1-for-1 trade from the Matilda to the side of the Benedetta. With the Benedetta down, I think that it is going to be slightly easier for Blacklist International to eventually push in, because they are just lacking of one initiated from the side of Matilda.
Yeah, 13 minutes in. You mentioned about the 2 tier 3 towers being down top of the bottom lane. I'm going to assume that the next GG push coming from Blacklist International is to take the lot. If RSGMY contest this and lose the fight, I think it's pretty much over here. And now, top lane Lexia, the kill contract is coming in, and look at how quickly Vice. Oh, the Onyx taunt as well.
Oh, the drill.
They managed to dodge it. The Tyrant's Rage comes in, but I fear that Zakas will not make out of this alive. And yes, he will be the first one to fall. They're now sticking around to Lolas as well. Look at Wise keeping up with the Benedetta, and there is no way out of this. And now it is turn for Blacklist International. They're looking at RSGMY down their faces and saying, listen, this is my base now. I am the captain.
They are the captain instead. Mr. Capitan. Blacklist International, they are not falling down at all. With all 5 members up and available, they're just going to go in for an all-out fight. They want to bring down every single one of the members coming from the side of RSGMY. Izanami has to force to pop off with the power of the Order of Brilliance in order to get himself right out of danger. Unfortunately for the side of Blacklist International, Lolils as well as Zakas, they are definitely going to come back up soon. But I don't think that, Blacklist International, I don't think they care. They are on such a huge lead. that they can just send one person right in front of the enemy's team and then walk out 5 seconds later, not dead.
Yeah, Rsg MY, they must be scratching their heads, right? Wondering what went wrong for them. But Blacklist International, no time given to Rsg MY to even counteract at all. Now they're just desperately trying to get any kills that they can. But look at the episode, he's just running around the ultimate. He's just gonna stick right on top. And they also burn the flicker coming out from the Kurfa. That is a crucial battle spell on cooldown. And with that being said, Epson still almost at full HP. It doesn't seem like he's touched at all. Meanwhile, can't say the same for all my winners. Down to 3/4, but here comes Blacklist International biting right back into the fight. Zeka strikes burn it, but look at that one punch. Luna sent all the way to the base, and now they chase onto Lolos, who does have immortality. But how long can that buy? Well, maybe a couple of seconds. While Lexia have troubles to deal on his own. Meanwhile, look at the base. Look at where they are at. Blacklist International. They are slowly shredding Lexia down, and I fear that this is GG. Blacklist International, they haven't even have a single member drop from that fight. It's a clean team wipeout, and Blacklist International stay undefeated by getting the first game against Rsg MY.